Welcome back. Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of the Sarah J. Pitts Business Development Show. I'm your host, Gordon Watt, and the star of the show, Miss.
Sarah Pitts, hi.
So we've been having a lot of fun. We was talking about what we're going to be talking about in today's show. And I wanted to say, if you're watching this on a replay or if you're watching this, please leave us a comment on our YouTube channel and ask any questions. The more questions we have, the more direction she has. She has all the links at the bottom, how to reach her, how to work with her, and figure out how you can get the overwhelm with her method because she's been through it. I've been through it. We all want you to get through it. But today's topic, and once I get this all set up, is to let go or not let go, right? There's a name for the chapter of her book. What? Stop doing it all. If you're looking at it from up here or up here, you see the little icon right there. Why the book was made. And we're going to go into these chapters on how the infiltration of stress, overwhelm, and how it affects your business, yourself. Sarah, while I get this all set up, reintroduce yourself, how they can reach you, what they can expect from today's show.
Okay, so I think you just kind of set up what you can expect from today's show. But
Exactly.
I am an international best-selling author of Stop Doing It All. I help solo business owners to ditch the overwhelm, demystify the difficult, and just get more stuff done. It's yeah, that book. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much that goes into why solo business owners feel overwhelmed. And I have yet to meet a solo business owner that has not felt overwhelmed at some point, regardless of how much money they're making. So I have worked with beginners, I've worked with $1 million, business owners, I've worked with all sorts of people in the middle. And it never seems to matter how much money they're making, they always hit a problem of overwhelm at some point. And today we're going to talk about stress and burnout and how that, affects everything you're doing and how to recognize the signs really of that. So there you go.
Man, this is going to be a pretty good show because anything to do with business creates stress. Once you start getting stressed, you get overwhelmed. And this is why Sarah developed in her book the potent productivity method, right? So that you can deal with this like a checklist. Because once all these emotions start handling and stuff like that, it's going to be a way so that you can do, let's say, affecting your goals, how you affect customer care, how do you add value to somebody's life and their business. Sarah, let's walk down the first topic. How does you not dealing with the overwhelming stress in the business affect the goals you're creating for your business or the people that's watching this?
Yes, I mean, there's 5 pillars of potent productivity, and you've named a few of them, but we're going to go through them individually now. So the first one is your goals. The second one is customer care. Then we have add value, spreading the word, and delivering on your promises. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you're running, but service-based solo business owners particularly really have these 5 areas of their business that they're constantly juggling all the time. And when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel burned out, when you're starting to feel stressed and just really busy, then it just impacts all of these areas of your business, which is basically everything. So when it comes to your goals, you're basically, if you're feeling overwhelmed, the last thing you want to do is stretch yourself. The last thing you want to do is push hard for something that you feel like you want to achieve because it's too stressful. So when
True.
you're overwhelmed, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling super busy, you scale back on all of those things.
Deep. That really makes sense because you're not giving the best of yourself if all that stress is overwhelmed.
No.
Now, give us a scenario of how do you think most business owners handle it and give us the antidote.
Yeah, so most solo business owners, they have this really fancy idea, right? And they think, oh, well, I'll just do this project, right? We've all been there. It happened to me last week when I was doing scavenger hunt. You think, oh, this project's a great idea. I'm really excited about this project. Maybe it's even just the start of your business, and you think,
True.
oh, I'll help people with this because I love doing it. I can really help loads of people. So you start out with all this enthusiasm and all this passion and all this, idea of what you're going to do. And then you start doing it and the project or the task or the business it's got 500 more layers to it than you anticipated. And all of a sudden you've gone from this crest of enthusiasm crashing down into this, you like this mountain of to-do stuff that you just kind of go, oh crap, how am I going to do all that? And it's just
Right.
intimidating, it's overwhelming, it's stressful, just
Very.
trying to juggle all of those things because it's all that brain power. So to preserve yourself, to preserve your energy, you must pull back. You must slow down because the body cannot give more energy than it has for very long. Right?
Right,
So
right.
the project is still huge, the time still chugs along, but your energy level is the only thing that your body will make you protect.
And then it also affects a lot of your decision making.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when you're stressful and you're not making the right decisions, you might not have enough sleeps because you're trying to make a deadline, you're trying to work on this presentation, you're trying to make a funnel, you're trying to do some work for some other people. You start getting overwhelmed on just the first aspect of what you need to do, and you're not giving the best for yourself. But for most, the hoorah rah, keep going, no time management. You went to a webinar, you're gonna do it, and then what happens is you're shooting yourself in the foot because your customers don't get the best of you. You don't get the best of you. The people that you're doing it for don't get the best of you.
No, exactly.
How do you fix that? Show us a way. How do you fix that? Because the people that's going to be watching this replay might want to know, how do I'm going through this in my business. How do I fix that?
Well, the first thing is make a plan.
Nice.
When you have a plan, when it's a solid plan based in reality, you understand the problem, you understand the reality of the situation, you have steps that you can follow, and you have a way of reassuring yourself that you're on the right track, then that becomes a way of eliminating so much overwhelm because you don't have to think about anymore, oh, I've got these hundreds of things whizzing around my head all the time, because all you have to focus on is that one step in front of you. And you know all of the pieces that are involved in that one step. And as long as you get that one step done, then you can move on to the next step. But you don't have to think about any of the other stuff.
Nice.
And that is
Nice.
a really powerful way of reducing
Thinking
your
about it.
overwhelm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
that's a
then you can do
perfect.
all the breathing and all the
Yeah.
change your environment, like go for a walk and, play with the dog and, all of that other stuff that helps us to relax. We
Right.
can do that on top.
But that's perfect because you can fine tune what I'm hearing, deal with that one topic at hand, fine tune it
Mm-hmm.
after everything is, because at least you can think straight, you can have a rational thinking about and not be burdened with all this crap that's going on your shoulders at one time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really 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 powerful on how you can do it, because I didn't realize, because as a solo entrepreneur, a business owner, you have to have so many hats that you
No, they're
play.
not hats. They are not hats. They
Okay,
are
what do you call it?
full-time jobs that other people do full-time.
They're full-time jobs.
We
You're
have to do
absolutely
them
right. Yeah.
like this,
Yes. You
but
and
they are
wait, wait, wait.
full-time jobs for other people.
That is exactly. I mean, I say hats because you got to put on the cooking hat, you got to put your marketer hat on, but it's another full-time job that you have to master, if not master, to outsource, and that's what part of the book has,
Mm-hmm.
ways to actually figure this stuff out so that you don't get overwhelmed and get burnt out, right? Now that's a it's a full-time job. And when you look at it realistically, you need to you got to be the copywriter, the marketer, the blog poster, the videographer, the editor, and shoot the show. And you wish you had like the octo arm really
And the
going everything.
strategist and the funnel
Yeah,
builder
the
and
should have
the
felt
coffee maker and the
and the customer care online
yeah,
support, the
yes,
help desk. That
yes.
goes into another question, right? How does it affect customer care according to the PP method?
I know
PP
what
method. Oh, that's catchy.
no. Anyway,
Potent productivity method. I'm sorry.
thank you.
The
Thank you very
PPM.
much. So the customer care really part of it is the bit that most of us as solo business owners really love doing
Okay,
because
nice.
we care about helping other people. With the people that I work with, the people I love really working with, don't care about money. They know they need it to run a business and they know they need it to live on, but they care more about making a difference in the world and to other people than they do about talking about money. So customer care is a really strong, powerful driver for a lot of us. And it makes us feel like we're letting everybody else down when we're just kind of half-assing it, kind of giving it half your effort, and you're not really, you can't give it what you feel is your best work,
True. Very
and
true.
that makes you feel terrible as a human being.
Right. That's really true because for me, even myself, as a business owner, as a friend, as a person helping, somebody comes to me, I'm giving more than 100%. I'm giving always my best, my
Mm-hmm.
creativity, my drive, my time, the attention, the
Yeah.
research into making the
Yes.
stuff better for the people I'm helping. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, it just goes to show it's not, I wouldn't say that's just part of the business. It goes off of your character, but sometimes when you get overwhelmed, that character gets knocked down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially
Oh,
when you're adding
definitely.
family, kids, the dog, the pig, everything else, the farm that's coming along, and then you have right. So that does affect a lot of the things, and if you're not at your best and you're not taking this seriously, it will affect the overall health of you, the business, and the people you come in contact with. Another part of the potent productivity method that you have in the book explains how do you add value and the creativity to provide when you're just stressed out? What are some of
Yeah.
the symptoms? How do you fix it? And what's the magic pill if you do have one? Besides buying the book and working with you.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, no, adding value, we have this pressure of adding value. People say, oh, you need to add value to other people's lives. And we have this thing in our heads that we ought to teach them stuff all the time. But it's not about that, really. But when we feel terrible, when we feel stressed, we don't feel like helping other people. We don't want to help them because it's tiring, and it's more time that we feel like we don't have to give, all that kind of stuff. And especially if those people are stressed as well, you
True.
know, you don't want to
True.
have to
You
work with
could
that person to
stress on
move
top
them
of
out of
stress.
their stress when when you're stressed. It's We do the bare minimum, and I call it the pathetic productivity line. So
Repeat
it's
that.
I call it the pathetic productivity line.
The
So
pathetic productivity line.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like
Okay.
the
Okay.
it's like that line in the sand.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
when you are feeling crap, then you just skirt by on the minimum that you can get done, and you're like, oh, that'll do, and I'll just do this because I can't cope with anything else right now, and I just did it and check that box and I've done it. But you're not
Okay.
proud of it, you don't care about it, you're not happy
Yeah.
with it most of the time,
Yeah.
but it's the minimum that your brain can cope with right then,
At that
you know
time.
at that time.
Correct.
Yes. And it's not that I'm calling your productivity pathetic. It's just what you consider to be pathetic based on your own normal rhythms. Right. So when you're feeling
Right.
great, you get
Right.
loads done and you're just zipping through it. But when you feel crap, it all just goes to pot, and you plodding along and you're just kind of getting by.
Yeah.
You know,
That I can see how
that's not
that.
really adding value to your people when you
Not.
feel terrible.
Yeah. Because they're not getting like it goes back to you're not being productive in a way that you're capable of. You're not
Exactly.
bringing
And
the
again, it
same
just
type
makes
of
you feel worse.
yeah. You're not bringing the same type of energy that you
Mm-hmm.
would have because then it's not consistent. Then people are going to be wondering, like, oh, why should I be doing business when they're not making me, like everybody else? It depends on how you make the other person feel
Mm-hmm.
in business, in relationships, and everything else. And the same goes with this with Sarah's book because if she's laid this all out and then you buy her book, you work with her, and it's like the energy is level and you're not getting the answers, oh man, that's going to be a recipe for that disaster. Even like for our mentor, our good friend, his quote of the day, which hit me at home, is perfect to bring this up. Great entrepreneurs solve problems for themselves first, and the people that they love.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, Jim, that was a good one. And it's perfect for art because it works into how you're going to add value, because the problems that we wrote in the when you wrote in this book, the methodology, the book, the potent productivity method came from yourself first,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
when you write that and you make it so that people's available, this is why people write books, they do podcasts, they do podcasts like this. It's so that people can acknowledge that they've been where you're at right now.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
This is why we write books. This is why we do what we do. Because
Yeah.
if I could go back, if you could go back and help Sarah 20 years ago, this is what you would give her. Now
Yes.
it's up to you, right, to do it.
Yeah. It's
How
interesting.
the
I saw something earlier today. Speaking of seeing things on Facebook, I saw something earlier today and it says the business owner you were meant to be is the person your 5-year-old self would run to for help.
beautiful. That is
I was like, oh,
perfect.
yeah.
That is perfect. That is
Yeah.
because that's the same thing. In fact, the show I was on right before you, my quote was, because we talk about confidence, relationships, and all this stuff. It's all about. I learned it from my kids. They want attention, time, security,
Mhm.
right? They want to be able to build up confidence and know you're there for them. If I'm not
Absolutely.
at my best, overwhelmed because they might be stressing me out, or something is going on, they don't get the best of me. And that's
Exactly.
unfair for anybody also that's doing business with you. If
Hmm.
I'm overwhelmed from my family life, from financial things, or something going on that Sarah doesn't deserve to have the worst of me. She deserves the best of me. The people reading this book, deserve to have an antidote for the stress overwhelm of every solo entrepreneur that could be going through some stuff, whether it's customer care, finding confidence, learning about your goals. All the other stuff can be taught, learned, and bought and paid for if you
Hmm.
really look at it, right? Now, let me ask you this. And besides what was that? The pathetic, what was that? The one, the pathetic line?
It's
What was
the
it? That's a
pathetic
new one.
productivity line. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So if you're in that level where you're feeling pathetic about yourself, now is the time to go to stopdoingitallbook.com and see what
Yes.
it's all about. Let me ask you this one now. How do you cope with more work when spreading the word in your methodology? Uh-oh, we might have some technical difficulties here.
You feel stressed when you feel. I can hear you. I can't say. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
You're back
okay.
now.
There you're back. You're back.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's the
So
question back again. You heard the question?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
perfect,
spreading the
perfect.
word.
Yes, yes.
So when I'm not a very outgoing person, right? I like being around people, but only for so long because I find it quite tiring. Okay. So
Absolutely.
I'm a proper giver. I will give all of myself to whoever it is that I'm talking to. And I can't keep doing that over and over and over again. We spoke about this a few weeks ago in terms of boundaries and setting your daily schedule and all that kind of stuff. So if I don't feel like my energy levels are high enough to tolerate people, I just won't. Right. Which means I don't do the podcast interviews. I don't do going out and talking to people like you need to, I don't. And when you're talking to people, you're a bit like, ugh, because you just haven't got the effort to do it,
Right.
And
Right.
again, it
Right.
goes back to not giving the best of yourself, which
Right.
makes you feel dreadful as a human being,
Ooh.
you
Yeah.
know? And the
Yeah.
worse you feel about the business that you're putting out there, the
Yeah.
more you listen to that Wreck-It Rose on your little shoulder going, oh, you're not good enough. What are you doing? This is terrible. You're wasting your time, or you'll never succeed at this, or whatever it is. All those negative thoughts and fears, they get amplified when you feel terrible.
Yes. I mean, it affects a lot of aspects of your business.
Mm-hmm.
It affects your creativity level. It affects your customer care. It affects the uh the way you handle yourself in a business decision. It
Mm-hmm.
affects how you're gonna affect talking with people, because even like your battery drains, especially if you haven't used a lot of the tools in the book,
Mm-hmm.
right? That can deter how you deal with, say, negative people or business. I call them business draining vampires because, like
Yes.
you said, you could be around people that's just, you can just feel it draining on you. Like it just, they're asking a question, you tell them what to do, they don't do it. You mean it's like, ah,
Yeah.
okay. But at the same time, that's when we talked about it last week with even with the Wreck-It Rose. You mean that Wreck-It Rose video, if you watch it on the replays, that one got close to 1,000 views fast because it makes sense for a lot of people in business. They all have that person on your shoulder.
Hmm.
How do you
Yeah.
make them, how do you shut them up basically, or how do you go? But don't let, guys, do not let Sarah fool you when she says she don't like to be in the energy. She's doing just fine. And see that
Yeah,
smile
I'm
right
not
there,
gonna
that
lie
smile
down
says
after
it all,
this.
right? Yeah. So let me ask you this question, the number 5 from the productivity method. How important it is on delivering your promises, especially if you're being overwhelmed. How does it affect your business and the lifetime of the customer, right?
Yeah.
If you don't deliver on your promises.
Yeah. I mean, I work with people who put integrity at the heart of who they are,
Uh,
right? They feel like integrity is a huge part of who they are. And if they cannot deliver on what they have promised, again, it makes them feel dreadful. But then when you feel stressed and when you feel too busy and you feel overwhelmed, delivering on your promises feels like a chore.
mm,
It feels like you're
big.
just going through the motions or you're just having to, oh my God, I've got to go do that. And I don't really want to do that. And, I've got this whole presentation to plan because I told people that I'd be live in like 4 hours. And, oh, but I don't really want to do that. And how am I going to get through it? And oh my God, and everything just comes amplified and crashing down. And, if we're not careful, we'll sit in a corner and cry. And we don't want that.
I mean, but those are real things, right?
Oh, I have sat in a corner and cried. I have done it.
Yeah,
So, I am
I mean,
not
but
judging
like you said,
anybody.
those are real things that happen because a lot of people, especially if you're just beginning and you have somebody like been in the industry 10, 15, 20 years, and it's just so natural, right?
Mhm.
Then, oh yeah, we want to hear about what you're going on, and you don't have that tenacity. You're gonna shut down because of
Yeah.
the overwhelm. And then you
Hmm.
like Sarah said, you're gonna go in there cry like, and then you start second guessing. You got Wreck-It Rose on your shoulder. In fact, she just got bigger,
Oh, yeah.
talking all that smack, right?
Yeah. She's
Then you
not on your
got,
shoulder anymore. She stood
yeah,
behind you going, hey.
yeah. She's like knocking on your head. She grew that big. How does, when you compile all of this, the method that you created, the checklist, the momentum, the things, the problems, what is the next step into becoming that full potential of an entrepreneur that you knew you could be, right? Like you got misguided along the way, maybe you got hurt from a business deal going wrong, right?
Mhm.
You're getting overwhelmed, you start feeling that tinge of stuff. What would you suggest that people do? Because people don't like to be told to do, they want to know how to do it. How would you, what would you tell them? Or not, how will you show them that this can be done?
Yeah. I think the main premise really for me is about managing your emotions and managing your energy levels, right? Because when your energy is reasonable, it doesn't even have to be high. Reasonable shuts out a lot of those doubtful thoughts. You've got more energy to fight those than you
Nice.
do when you're not feeling great. So, having fun in your business, being kind to yourself, building confidence in everything you do is a really powerful way of making those doubtful thoughts really quiet. They're never going to go away, and that's good because we need them. They keep you safe, they keep you questioning things, and you don't just accept everything on first glance. So, yeah, it's really about how you talk to yourself, how you prove to yourself that you are the capable person that you know you are. on the times when you're doubting yourself. So that is really what the potent productivity method is about. It's not about ticking things off a list. It's not about getting as much done as you possibly can, you know, that hustle culture kind of thing. It's about
Yeah.
you and your emotional state. Because if your emotions are not steady, then that's going to impact every area of your business.
Oh, 100 plus 1,000%, because it affects so much areas of your life. Not doing, even when you're second guessing yourself, even if you're unconfident about a situation, the way I look at it is the only way you can come out of it is if you try, learn from it, and not blame. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start blaming yourself, I could have done this. How come I didn't know more about this? Why did I make that effort? This, that. Think of it this way: you're going to revisit that same situation in business 5 years from now, 5 months
Mm-hmm.
from now. It's going to repeat. The only thing that's going to be better about it is you're going to be able to react differently. You're going to have some of the tactics in this book, like this, that can help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be more savvy about what overwhelm is going to hit you, how it's going to hit you, why it's going to. And that's what makes, to me, business should be fun if it's
Oh,
if it's
yes.
done right. Like you go through, it's like having seniority in your business. Like any job that you start up, you start out this. By the time you get to a certain position, you should have a seniority. But seniority also comes with wisdom that you've been through, the battle wounds, the battles that you've been through, not just financial,
Mm-hmm.
the inner emotional turmoil that goes
Mm.
on. And that's what this book helps with, the emotional turmoil that goes along with being a solo entrepreneur, trying
Mm-hmm.
to do it all yourself. Like Sarah said, you have a 10 full-time jobs just to get one product on the line, and you don't even know if that's going to work.
No.
But you get better along the way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I think that's where the 4 R's of potent productivity come in really handy, because it's almost like a toolkit for when you're in the moment of feeling
Mm.
overwhelmed and stressed and panicky even, because the project was harder than you thought it would be, or it's bigger than you thought it would be, or you don't think it's going to turn out the way you thought it might, and all that kind of stuff. When you're faced with that immediate situation, having that plan, having those steps that you can follow, it's like, okay, well, I don't like this situation. It's making me feel uncomfortable. It's making me feel overwhelmed. I'm stressed about it. Okay, what is the problem? That's the first
Yep.
thing. Like recognizing what is the problem, what is the reality of my situation, what are the steps I need to take to get out of this situation, and who can I turn to for help? Those 4 things. That's when you're in that situation, you need something to turn to so that you can stop that slippery slope of talking that negative talk to yourself, and
Yes.
those doubtful
Yes.
thoughts that keep creeping in. You need something to switch them off. And that process, those 4 steps, it does it every time for
Crucial.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crucial because you notice that. But that's why
Mm-hmm.
you write about it in those book in your
Mm-hmm.
book,
Yeah.
because it comes from experience. Give us, in fact, give us a story how that situation arise, that and how you created that 4 R's and
Mm-hmm.
used it.
Oh, and this is the thing. I mean, been this conversation has come up quite a lot recently for me. And it's basically about your uniqueness. Okay. So a lot of solo entrepreneurs, they don't understand what's unique about them. And honestly, this 4 hours of potent productivity is something I've been doing my whole life.
You just didn't know you was doing it.
I just didn't know I was doing it. I didn't
Right.
call it anything. I didn't write it on a piece of paper.
Right.
When I was writing the book, it was the first time I'd written it out, and I was like, oh yeah, I do that. I don't
Right.
recommend writing a book to figure out who you are, although it will help, but it'll just take you a long time.
But it
But
helps.
yeah, I was trying to find my unique angle on writing the whole book about productivity, because
Mm-hmm.
productivity, let's face it, everybody's written about it before. There's some very, very popular people who've written about it. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything extra to say.
But you do.
or do I?
Yes, but you
And
do.
that's when I was just like, okay. And I went through the steps. I always go through the steps, same steps. What is the situation I am in? I recognize that situation. That's the first R. Then the reality of that situation needs to be addressed. A lot of people, they just bury their head, they'll just forge ahead anyway, they'll run away from it, whatever it is they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you need to face the reality of the situation, because when you do, that's how you get out of it. And it's the same when I was doing the injury stuff for people. They're telling me they've got a pain in their arm, and I'm saying the pain's not in your arm, the pain is in your chest. And they're like, what? Well, what do you mean?
Right.
Well, the pain might be in your arm, but the problem is in your
It's in your
chest.
chest. Yep.
So I was recognizing that the problem wasn't where they were saying it was. The reality of it is that if we deal with this, all this round here, then all this down here will help. It'll release it all.
Release
You
pain.
know?
Yep.
Yeah. So that takes the pain away. So what are the steps I need to follow to get rid of that pain for that person? And I've been doing it for so long, I just didn't even know I was doing it.
It's
And
common
the
sense to
reassurance,
you, but not to
yeah,
anybody else.
no,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. And then the reassurance I was getting from that was that these people, when I was moving their bodies around, they weren't in pain. So I was like, does that feel painful? No. Is it a little bit uncomfortable? Yes. Does it feel helpful? Yes. Okay, let's keep going. If it's painful, I need to stop. And they were like, oh. And as soon as I'd gone through those steps, and as soon as I knew what those steps were, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, well, I don't know what you just did, but I feel better. Good.
You
I don't care if
relieve
you can't
you
name
relieved
it.
it. Yeah.
It's just your
You
pain. It's a
you're the
pain
pain
away.
reliever.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
that's what business is about. And in fact, that's a perfect example of what business is result. Because the products, the services, the coaching, the help that you buy is you're supposed to start out with a problem. Nine out of 10 times it's a problem that you had as the person. And then you try to just relieve pressure. You try to
mhm,
relieve pain, or you
yeah.
try to give a solution. And that's what business all everything else about how do you do it, the platform, what program, all the fancy stuff, everybody just put a name on it. But the name that they put on it was just figured out by that person that really just understood their own uniqueness,
Mhm,
right? And put a
mhm,
name to it,
yeah.
right? It's like, oh, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? So I was doing some prompting for another thing, and it said, oh, I'm going to use the problem, something, and solve with an answer. That was somebody else's problem, agitate, solve, but the prompt came out as this, right?
Mhm,
So that's the same exact thing. Your own uniqueness in solving somebody else's problem is what makes you have the following, the subscribers, the people that pay you because of the uniqueness that you bring. Like Sarah said, it can be any given thing.
mhm.
When she found her tribe, the people that respects her, and then now she's getting a lot of momentum with what she's doing. And we gotta give the applaud to Sarah because she's becoming the person she knew she always wanted to be, but has a direction using her same
Yeah,
methodology,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is that's you. She eats her own medicine. She drinks her own
I do.
Kool Aid.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Well, if it wasn't working for me, I couldn't help with anybody else, could I?
Yes, because you couldn't
You know,
understand, right?
because you have to test it out with yourself first. And
No,
it,
100%.
whether you're conscious of it or not, you know,
Yes,
and most of the time, solo business owners that I work with have been doing it so long they don't even know that they're doing it. And then
true, 100.
that's when you start to pull it out, and they're like, oh, I've been doing that, and that's how I helped somebody else do this, and that's how I helped somebody else do that. And it's like, well, there you go.
I mean, it's really when you really look at it and finalize everything and look at it this way, it's just actually most people know what they're doing. They really do.
They
It's just
do. Yes.
it's like you just don't know how to package it, put the bow on it, put the right wrapping paper to figure it out that this is the answer. Like I said, even in business, not just the self-help, the coaching, everything, you have the keys. It's just how are you going to package it? What system you're going to use? What platform? How you going to do it? And I was just watching Hormozi's training. In fact, Jim
Mhm.
got a training on right now. His main thing was I had to figure this stuff out. I just rephrased it so I could get the sale. And then once he started that, he capitalized on it.
Yeah.
That's all he did. And he'll admit it. This is how I did it. I just trained other people because it worked for me. The
Yeah.
same what Sarah just said. So
Yeah.
guys, get the book. Find the golden nuggets in the book. Oh, I can't even.
There you go.
There's it. I was doing curiosity.
Yeah.
See, I'm the Batman to her Robin. I mean, I'm she's the Batman, I'm the Robin.
Why, thank you.
But no, I mean, that's true. This is one of the most insightful ones that we did because everybody goes through it.
Hmm.
No matter who you are, what phase, you will come across overwhelmed. And the pathetic productivity line kind of threw me off. Like, man, you just call something it's pathetic,
No,
but it's real. Now,
no, it is.
yeah, it is a real thing. Now, next week, guys, same time next week, we're gonna go over chapter 14. What's the C word? Your biggest obstacle. Give us a little teaser for next week's show.
Yeah. This is really about, this is a deep-seated fundamental problem that many, I don't say most, but many solo business owners struggle with because their business is something that they care passionately about. And it's almost like taking their child away or breaking off an arm.
Oh,
We feel so passionately about the business that we struggle with the C word. Yeah.
we're gonna find out what the C word is next week, guys. That was a good teaser.
Okay.
All right, guys. This is Gordon Watt from SJB, Sarah J. Pitts Business Development.
Yes.
Anyway, and we'll see you next week. Sarah, end the show.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment. If you want to go buy the book, you can get it at stopdoingitallbook.com. And thank you, Gordon, again, always for your time. I really have a lot of fun doing these shows. Thank you.
We'll see you next week, guys. Leave us a comment. Join the conversation next week.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to leave us a comment and head on over to stopdoingitallbook.com.